But the big question is, how can I save this nigga and still be clean?
You're too weak. I'll give you anything you...
See, see, that's some Naruto type shit, bruh. I'm Jin Woo. What's the point of wearing the black Amiri pants and the black cats then, bruh? Oh, I know.
Stop it.
Hey everyone, welcome to the review of Kagurabachi Chapter 101. I'm sure many people breathed a huge sigh of relief when they read this chapter, so we might as well get right into it and see what we got this week. The chapter opens up with Zami interrupting the conversation between Ura and Soga, with Ura actually managing to block a Zami strike with a Shinichi, before straight up flash stepping to him and holding the blade to his throat, watching the flowers spread on him once more, which also causes the flowers to start spreading again, making Shikamaru cough up even more blood. We get a rundown on the situation with the vessels again. Since there are more than 2 vessels, and the new one is taking priority in keeping the sword bearers out, the mixing signals of the two is causing them to be distorted, which is why they can't send out anything to Hiyuki or Shiba. Hakuri's group is still just trying to figure out what they can do, since Yukisada ran off, and they want to go after him, but they still just don't know how to kill him. Izaru and the vessel are also in a similar situation, however the vessel actually comes to a conclusion. Izaru has to kill him. He knows that if he dies, the barrier will become stronger against the sword bearers, but the signal will clear up and they can contact Hiyuki and Shiba, but he's putting a very brave face on. You see, he never took this job because he had some grand sense of justice and was willing to sacrifice his body. He grew up poor, and so to him, money would be the key to getting a life for himself and the other people he wants to help. But Izaru knew this all along, at least his dialogue seems to suggest this, and the vessel just turns out to be a better man than he himself thought he was, putting a brave face on with what courage he can muster as he shakes in fear. Until fucking Hokuto runs on the scene and tries to take out Izaru.
Something was wrong with him. That's not human, man. You're not regular, man. He was a devil, man.
How are you rich and you're robbed?
But it turns out Izaru is far stronger than we gave him credit for and actually manages to shoot off Hokuto, but the vessel now has no one to kill him. Ikuto was able to see all this happen through his own stand. He's too exhausted to do what he did before, where he sent Kugaro through Yukisada, but there's another person here who can do something like that. He turns to Hakuri, asking him to teleport a sword to the room the vessel is in, and then he can use his magnetism to cut his head off with it. Remember, Hakuri still has one of the 2 swords he took at the very beginning of the invasion. Ikuto tries to convince Hakuri of his mindset, letting the few die for the many, and it seems to work. But instead of the sword appearing, the vessel disappears himself. And Jesus, Shikamaru, I was not over-exaggerating about the spring-locked thing. Hakuri, using the Denji I choose both cakes method, saves the vessel and stabilizes the barrier by registering him into the storehouse system and then just putting him there. And only a moment later, guess who finally shows up? Shiba walks in and grabs Yura's tie, teleporting him right out of the Kaminabi HQ. And can someone tell me how Ura is just flat out flying right now? I'm convinced now that you can do anything you want in this series as long as you yourself think it's cool enough. And of course, the 2 waiting for him outside are Samura and Chihiro as a 2v1 begins. Now that was a shonen chapter. Overall, I find Ikuto trying to convince Hakuri of his mindset to be a very interesting plot point, and I do feel like it'll be brought up again. But maybe the situations will be reversed and Ikuto is the one who has to make the choice himself. Hakuri has really done a 180 with his performance in this arc, going from a hindrance to really feeling like one of the core fighters, as he said at the beginning. Azami, obviously, isn't dead and is hitting the Walter White on the floor. But he'll be back before the end of the arc, I can guarantee that. Shiba will probably be the swordbearer's support in this fight, at least until Ura does him like Red Rush. And please God, can we just get a name for the vessel? This guy has more of a backstory than some characters we do have names for, and I feel like I'm insulting him by just calling him the vessel now. Next chapter, I'm guessing we'll see a 2v1 with Ura while Shiba teleports around the HQ just helping whoever he can find. Maybe even fighting a Hishaku or 2. I'd imagine Iran and Bingo. But with that, I'll end the chapter review here for today. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next video when Izaru hits Hokuto with a hollow purple.
Technique. Hollow. Purple. That was the moment I truly lost.